Hello, gentle listener, and welcome to Nocturnal Transmissions. Reven up your engine. Listen to her howling roar. Metal under tension, begging you to touch and go. Highway to the danger zone. Ride into the danger zone. Kenny Loggins. Nocturnal Transmissions is proud to present Howling Highway by Jed Vesper. Sweltering, bumper to bumper, Grifton City Center. Paul Willett loosened his tie and lowered the electric windows on both driver and passenger side. His shirt clung to his back, heavy with perspiration. He tapped the steering wheel irritably, though he felt more like chewing it. The traffic crawled along at snail's pace, and he mentally cursed the bastard responsible for planning this farcical highway system. Traffic light upon traffic light, mile after mile, resulting in the mother and father of all bottlenecks, before opening onto the dual carriageway that led onto the M62. And now he was trapped, like the proverbial cork, in that bottleneck. The mental image made him even more uneasy about what would be awaiting him when he got home. Catherine had changed since Emily had been born. The birth of a child should be the lasting bond that draws a couple closer together and provides a whole new meaning to the relationship, to life. This is what Paul had been led to believe by his mother. "Get back, you stupid bastard!" Willett glared in his rearview mirror at the suited fool who was twitching at his rear wing as if to attempt to overtake, with nothing more than a credit card space between bonnet and boot. "Come on, for God's sake. Get moving." His thoughts returned to Catherine. She had begun drinking heavily following the birth. Postnatal depression, the doctor had put it down to. Paul had taken his 5 days paternity leave, taking his share of the nappy changing and night feeding, and on his return to work he had tried to be home as quickly as possible each day, and had continued to help as much as he could. But it was in the hours that he was at work that she had found difficulty in coping. She had turned to the bottle with frightening rapidity. He had found her day after day, either staggering about the house or hard asleep in a drunken coma, and he had been worried for the safety of Emily. Feeling unable to share his distress with his manager at work, or even his mother, he had gone sick for several weeks to try and sort the situation out. All he had succeeded in doing was making her more furtive. She could disappear from a room in a house seemingly empty of alcohol and return mere minutes later completely smashed. He had taken so much time off that he had been given an ultimatum by the firm. Return to work immediately or don't bother coming back. Today was his first day back. Thank God. The traffic had slithered out of the city centre and onto the dual carriageway, moving more freely now. A breeze was circulating around the interior of the car, cooling his temperature and offering a sense of hope to him. She had promised him that it would all stop. She had phoned Alcoholics Anonymous and had arranged to go to a meeting with him tonight, whilst his mother watched Emily. He flicked on the indicator and maneuvered the car onto the M62. Really moving now. He'd be home in 20 minutes. They were going to have a chicken salad for tea, then take Emily over to his mom's. He'd even spoken to the AA counselor on the phone himself. It's the first step, an important step. She's acknowledged she has a problem, no longer in denial. Get her to the meeting. It's the only thing that really works. If she attends regularly, everything will work out okay. Again, reassured. His life had had a tendency to work out okay. His mother and he had a secret. Every day she would bring him home from school along the same section of motorway that he now drove, the same dark grey tarmac of the M62. Yet there was one section of the road that had never been surfaced in that way, a half-mile stretch of highway, rougher in texture and lighter in colour. Beige. Each time the car had sped onto that stretch, the sound within the vehicle had changed from the normal, monotonous rumbling caused by tire on motorway. Rather a high-pitched sound filled the car. His mother had described it as an invisible choir holding a beautiful note. Whenever that choir sang to him, then all was well with the world. A childish notion, he knew, but right now he needed all the comfort he could get. As the BMW ate up the ground, the stretch of light brown highway approached fast. The road switched from black to beige, and the rumbling changed. But it wasn't a choir that sang. A hideous howling assaulted his ears, like the wailing of 1,000 souls in torment. His hair prickled, his mood darkened. Fear throttled him. All was not well with the world. He pushed the accelerator pedal to the floor, and to the accompaniment of the ominous howling, tore down the fast lane of the M62. Almost home now, turning the final bend, tires screeching, his house in the distance, Catherine's car parked outside. Not parked, though. It was slewed, stationary, but at a 45-degree angle to the house, with its headlights blazing and an indicator still blinking. As he skidded to a halt, he saw also that the driver's door of Catherine's car was open. His heart raced madly. Christ, what state would she be in? Out of the car now, sprinting down the front path, front door gaping open, keys still in the lock. Upon reaching the door, he momentarily paused. A huge part of him did not want to enter, did not want to know the truth of what lay within. But he knew he had no choice. He had to face bleak reality. His wife was a hopeless alcoholic who duped everyone, including those well-meaning fools of the AA. Taking a deep breath, he strode inside, and was temporarily reassured. He could smell cooking. She couldn't be completely out of her skull. Surely. He pushed open the living room door. The television flickered images of the early evening news, but was devoid of sound. Catherine wasn't present in the room, but a sickly smell was. The dark stain on the sofa cushions placed the smell for him. Urine. She had done it before, wet herself during drunken binges. Oh, how many times he'd cleaned up after her, mopping up vomit and piss. His mental alarm bells were ringing loud and clear once more. She'd done it again. Where the hell was she? He'd had enough. He had to get out of this nightmare before it destroyed him. And his daughter. He belted up the stairs, almost tripping on the landing as he ran for the main bedroom. Slamming open the door, his eyes fell upon her, sprawled supine on the bed in a pool of puke. Snoring and dead to the world. No more. This was the end. She could drown in her own spew for all he cared. Emily was his only concern now. He walked on rubbery legs towards the baby's cot and looked inside. At first, he could not comprehend what his eyes conveyed to his brain. In the center of the cot, wrapped in a white woolen shawl, lay a frozen chicken. Again, the smell of cooking, the acrid odor of burning now mingled with it, pervaded his senses. Out of the room and down the stairs he stumbled into the kitchen. With trembling hands he turned the handle of the oven door, the contents of his stomach beginning to rise. As it swung, slowly open. Howling Highway by Jed Vesper. You are not for the faint-hearted, Mr. Vesper. Luckily, faint-hearted is not the listenership we tend to attract. So, stout-hearted listeners, can you stand to meet the newest additions to our Patreon subscriber ranks? Of course you can. You're made of pretty stern stuff. Now, I shan't be burying the lead on this occasion. No, we have count them, 3 new cohorts within our pantheon of esteemed co-conspirators. Belle of the Ball, Fabled Words, and Andrea Baxter, who has upgraded her patronage from acolyte to the very pinnacle of support for Nocturnal Transmissions. Cohort. Thank you, Belle of the Ball, Fabled Words, and Andrea. The dark flame grows ever, darker, thanks to your largesse. We also have a new acolyte in our midst, Travis Belanger. Hello, Travis. A big thank you and welcome to you too. Right, time to go. That was a succinct little episode, wasn't it, gentle listener? I know some of you quite enjoy the shorter tales. Speaking of tales, next episode we'll be bringing you a tale of tales of a quite different sort. One for our Felis Catus fans. Consider this upcoming story our way of redressing the balance for any domestic animals that may have been harmed in previous episodes. Oh, I've said too much. I really shouldn't spoil the fun. I shall away before I let the cat out of the bag. This episode was brought to you with the generous assistance of our Patreon subscribers. A particular thank you goes out to our esteemed cohorts, Tippy Polo, Thomas Arvin, Javonte Gaston. Apologies for mispronouncing your name last time around, Javonte. If you have likewise been misrepresented by a hideous mispronunciation of your name, don't hesitate to let us know. We will endeavor to make amends. Moving on, Robert Troy Hampton Peterson, Hisu, Sam Bell, J.B., Daniel Clanton, Evan Dooley, Joe Stinson, Adam, Stephen Andrews, Rachel Brown, Wayne Prince, Philip Abruzese, Arnie Frank, Alicia Townsend, Sam Hankins, Alex Brewis, Fabled Words, Belle of the Ball, and Andrea Baxter. All non-public domain stories are featured with the permission of the authors. All voices and production are concocted by Kristin Holland. If you'd like to support our humble production and hear the fabulous back catalogue of exclusive episodes we've prepared for your listening enjoyment, just visit patreon.com/Nocturnal Transmissions and sign up. Until next time, as always, watch the skies, fear the dark, and don't trust anyone, especially yourself. Good night, gentle